Hello, my name is Rob Garner. I'm a computer programming instructor, and today I'm going to demonstrate how to use the print statement in Python. So I'm going to start off by creating a repo or creating a folder. I have this repo folder where I put all my programming projects, and let's see, I'm going to delete this one and redo it. So I'm going to start off by creating a folder where my project is going to go. And so I recommend that you place your projects in a nice folder structure. And so this one I'm going to call Hello World. And then I'm going to open this up. Now, depending on how you installed Visual Studio Code, you can often just right-click here, and depending on your operating system, you'll find a section here that says Open with Code. And when you open that up, it'll actually open your project to this folder. And whenever you're working with Visual Studio Code, you want to have a folder open. So let's let this open up. And now we have it open. This welcome page will shows you what's here. It gives you some links to some help files, recent things you've opened. So you can look through these walkthroughs. Sometimes those can help you out. And it gives you some common actions that you do when you start. Notice that one of the start items is open file. But because of the way we just opened this by right-clicking and saying open up Visual Studio Code, notice that we have Hello World here, and that is this Explorer is showing you the same things that your File Explorer does. So anything that you create will show up in both places. We also have a number of links here. You may have different ones show up depending on what extensions you have installed. So one of the first things we want to do is make sure that we have our Python extension installed. And so you'll see there's a search option here, there's source control, there's run and debug. We won't worry about a lot of these things. The one that we want to work with right now is extensions. If you click on extensions, you want to type in here Python, and I have a number of extensions installed, don't worry about that, but you type Python in here and there's this one that says Python by Microsoft. Notice that each of these extensions have different people's names on here. Anybody can make an extension and publish it, so I recommend for now just install the Microsoft ones. So install Python, and if you want you can install this this debugger extension. But these two extensions, and when you click on the extension, you will see that if it's not installed, it'll give you the option to install. Just click install, and while it's installing, you can read the documentation about the extensions. So extensions can do a number of different things, and the details that they have here explain what the extension does. In fact, some extensions, like this one, install two other extensions. But it will show you, for example, just some basic things. We're going to go through what we need from here. But as you get to know more about Python, more of this will make sense. So just install this extension, and then you can install this Python debugger one. It looks like it's a more recent one. So this helps with debugging your code. And then once you're done, you can come back to here. Now, if you don't have that if you go create your repo folder, and when you right click, if this option open with code isn't available from the Explorer, what you can do instead is start Visual Studio Code to start with. Let me redo this so that shows you what it looks like when you start off without having a folder already open. So you go to Visual Studio Code. And when it opens up from scratch, you won't have any folders open. And so if you click on the Explorer, you'll notice that it'll look like this. Now, some people will start and just create they'll create a new file and they'll start writing Python. I don't recommend that. What you're going to want to do is open folder, either here or open folder here, or file, open folder here. You know, with most applications, there's 3 or 4 different ways of doing things. In this case, we have 3. Well, 4 if you count right-clicking on the Explorer. And so you're going to open folder. And this gets kind of tricky because if you don't have the folder already made, you may need to go out to the Explorer and make the folder. Otherwise, just find where your folder was created right here and select it. If it isn't selected, you can actually right in here create a new folder if you have to, and then open that folder. But I usually recommend make your folder structure in your File Explorer, then come in here and select that folder where you want to put your work in. And now everything you create will be in that folder. This makes it a whole lot easier to find things, and there's certain instances where you have to do this for things to work. That's pretty far ahead when we start doing, if we start doing files or anything like that. But generally speaking, you want your code to all be kind of put together in one folder. And for a long time, we're going to be just working with one file. It's not a big deal, but this will make things easier. Just get used to creating a new folder every time you start doing some new work. Okay, so now that we're here, what can we do? Well, we're going to make our first program. We're going to click on New File, and you can notice that there's a new file here, there's a new file here, or there's a new file here. I'm going to close out this welcome window so that it looks a little bit more like we normally do. Notice that we have some little functions we can do here. These are shortcuts. And we're going to, I use these a lot. These are very convenient. So I'm going to click on New File, and we're going to say hello.py. So when you make a Python program, make sure that you put the file extension. Now, one of the things that's pretty, if you go look at this file, it's now created, it's here. If you don't, if you put .py here and you don't see it in your File Explorer, and when you're writing code, I recommend always doing this, is with your File Explorer, there is the option to show different things. I recommend showing hidden items, and I also recommend file name extensions. So put those 2 checkboxes so that you see file name extensions and hidden items. There's a lot of weird errors that can happen if you don't show file extensions when you're writing code. So just as a habit, I usually, any computer I'm on, I'm usually showing extensions and hidden items. And this way I can see the file extension. And so now I know, I and the operating system now know that this is a Python program. So here we have the Python program, and it's open here, and this is basically a text editor. We can put whatever we want in here. And that's all a program is. A program is a text file. Now, if we put just anything in here and try to run it, it's not going to do anything. So we need to know specific commands that will do things. And in this case, the command we're going to learn is called the print command. So one of the neat things is IntelliSense will often give you documentation right in here. And so it tells you this prints the values to a stream or to system.standard out by default. Okay. If you're brand new to programming, some of this documentation is going to be hard to read, but you will learn it over time as you learn more. So you won't understand what all of this is yet. We're going to get into functions later, and there's all this stuff. This won't make sense yet. But what you can get out of here is it prints the values to a stream or standard out. Well, what is stream or standard out? Well, standard out is actually just the console, and we're going to see that these are going to be console applications. They're all going to be text-based, and we're going to see this will print out when we run the program. It will display it to the screen. So our screen is our standard out in this case. And so we're just going to print hello world. Now notice that we have parentheses here. Those parentheses, so the print is a function, and a function has parentheses within which we have the parameters which the function executes. So this is the print function, the word print with parentheses. Inside of here, we can put whatever we want to print. Now, we put hello world. Notice what happens if I take these quotes on either side out. Right now, Python's confused. It says, hey, hello is not defined. I don't know what a hello is. So it thinks hello is a command, just like it reads print as a command. But what we want is we don't want a command that may be named hello. What we want here is the text HELLO, comma, space WORLD, exclamation point. And the way we tell the computer that this is some text, this is a pile of text we want it to do something with, is by putting quotes around it. So these quotes are very important when we want to display text. Now I can put double quotes or single quotes in Python, and they both work the same. So you can put either one. And then the next thing is, how do we run this program? So this is actually a complete program. So I'm going to save this program. So this is now saved. And because it's saved, I can close that. And if I open this up again, it's still there. So over here, we have run or debug. Now, if you click this, it won't work the way we want it to work. We actually need to click on this down arrow and pick on Run Python File. We can also, there's a run command here, and we can click on Start Debugging. In fact, I think let's do that one first. We're going to click here for Start Debugging, and when we do that, it's going to ask us, well, how do you want to run this? And it gives us some choices. Well, it also tells us this is the suggested one, and this is in fact what we want to do. We want to run in the Python debugger. And then it says, select configuration. There's all kinds of things here for different ones, but the one we want is Python file debug the currently active file. And it opens up this debug window. We're going to learn what we can do with this later. But notice right here, we said print hello world, and now our program runs. It says hello world. And we can change this. We can put hello Rob, for example. And we can go to run. Notice that there's a shortcut key, F5. So if you want to, and since we have to run a lot, what I recommend is if you see a shortcut key and you want to memorize a shortcut key instead of clicking on debug every time, look at the shortcut key, then close the menu, and then I'm going to hit F5. And there you see that it ran again. And now instead of hello world, it says hello Rob. In fact, we can put whatever we want here. And then again, I'm going to hit F5. And it says blah. We can also put multiple lines in here. And if we wanted to put an empty space, we could just we could say just print, there's nothing in here. And we get a bunch of empty spaces between them. We can also print numbers. And we can mix numbers and so here, by separating with commas, we can put multiple things and print them one after the other. And that looks kind of weird. Let me just change this to FIBE. We could also do math in here. And you can see that it added these things together. And again, we could combine things and say 12 minus 3 is, and then put 12 minus 3. And so it's going to print this out as text, and then it's going to do this arithmetic and display it. 12 minus 3 is 9. Let's do that. So I'm hitting F5 to run. So here I hit F5 and it runs. So this is how we can do printing. Thank you very much.